one of the picnics I went out with her, we had a lovely picnic and a lovely chat, and then we went for a little walk, just the two of us. And normally, on these picnic sites, you meet nobody, but there was two hikers coming towards us, and the Queen would always stop and say hello. And it was two Americans on a walking holiday. And it was clear from the moment that we first stopped, they hadn't recognised the Queen, which is fine. And the American gentleman was telling the Queen where he came from, where they were going to next, and where they'd been to in Britain. And I could see it coming, and sure enough, he said to Her Majesty, "And where do you live?" And she said, "Well, I live in London, but I've got a holiday home just the other side of the hills." And he said, "Well, how often have you been coming up here?" "Oh," she said, "I've been coming up here ever since I was a little girl, so over 80 years. And you could see the clogs thick. And he said, "Well, if you've been coming up here for 80 years, you must have met the Queen." And as quick as a flash says, "Well, I haven't, but Dick here meets her regularly." So the guy said to me, "Oh, you've met the Queen, what's she like?" And because I was with her a long time and I knew I could pull a leg, I said, "Oh, she can be very cantankerous at times, but she's got a lovely sense of humour." Anyway, the next thing I knew, this guy comes round, put his arm around my shoulder, and before I could see what was happening, he gets his camera, gives it to the Queen, and says, "Can you take a picture of the two of us?" Anyway, we swapped places, and I took a picture of them with the Queen, and we never let on, and we waved goodbye. And then Her Majesty said to me, "I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he shows those photographs to the friends in America, and hopefully someone tells him who I am."
She had a sense of humor, and I mean, you could see that her butler or aide, whoever that was, said, "Well, she's cantankerous but has a sense of humor." I think you have to, and I don't think that she was There's a kind of humor that everyone loves, self-deprecating humor. Yeah. I don't think a queen can or should be self-deprecating, because to deprecate herself would be to deprecate her personification of the state. So I don't think a queen can mock herself in the same way.
It's certainly more complicated.
Yeah. But I think that she managed to be as funny as a queen should ever be. And I think her husband filled the gaps.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I mean, I was asked a few things the day she died, reminiscences. Now, the one example I gave of that, if I may, was when I was the honorary colonel of the Governor General's Foot Guards in the late 90s, and the Queen was in Canada, and she was giving us a renewal of colors. So it was a regimental event. The temperature was 99 degrees Fahrenheit in Ottawa, and the uniform I had was for winter events, and Canadian military uniforms aren't very stylish at the best of times, and so I was doing my best not to perspire, and she said, "I'm not used to seeing you dressed like this." I used to see her in London from time to time, just in the normal course, And so I thought of when Elvis Presley met President Nixon, and he was wearing a brown satin suit, and Mr. Nixon said, "You're rather flamboyantly dressed." So I took Elvis's line and I said, "Well, Your Majesty, you dress for your job and I dress for mine." He said, "But I have a better costumer."
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.